historic religion based on violence and misogyny, but I don't see that part of it.
Right, and
where is
they
it?
keep attacking. You
Yeah.
have Fort Hood, you have the diaper bomber, you have the snipers down in D.C., you have the Times Square bomber. I mean, just, off the top of your head, these are more attacks on U.S. soil since 9/11. Although I do note there were none between when we invaded Iraq and Obama became president.
Right.
That's pretty amazing. No attacks on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
Well, it's also... oh, fuck, I forgot. I looked completely lost. I completely blanked. Like, I had a thought that completely went away.
That's because she smells good.
She does smell good. But it was something about, I think, Ground Zero.
Oh, how about that?
You know they're going to put a mosque down there? I just reset. That's what happened. I just reset.
And on my Twitter, we got this guy, Sax God. He's for the mosque. And he's every time we mention the mosque, he's all over Twitter. And his recent comment here is the reason they are building it there is because it's close for all the New York City Muslims to go to. So is that good enough for you guys?
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah,
it's not.
Nobody lives down there. What is he talking about?
Yes.
Close for the...
And
well,
then,
you know what? How about you build it somewhere else, and then all those Muslims that have to walk or drive a little further to get there can use that time to reflect on the atrocities that were committed where that mosque was where they thought it should be.
It actually was a great place for 19 of them to converge 9 years ago. What I was going to say is, this is part of it. You always feel like how we don't understand Islam. We have to reach out to Islam, but it's like they don't understand Americans either. It's like we're suckers if you're nice to us, and if they would voluntarily move this, if one vocal member in the Islamic world would go, you know what, people would go, fuck, man, these are not as unreasonable a group
that'd be
as
great
I
PR.
thought. It would be
Great
like,
PR.
it's like when someone like holds the door for you, you go, son of a bitch, I can't believe I didn't like that guy. We're easy. Americans are easy.
Yeah.
Just don't be such a... Hamas came out for it. They should have just walked away and said,
I know.
Hamas is backing it.
Hamas is backing it.
Yeah.
That's not
Ahmadinejad has donated a members-only jacket to go in the lobby.
His members only.
Let's get someone from the other side because we're all on one side here in the studio today. Jim in Boston, what's up?
Yeah, I want to preface my statement. Number one, I don't want you to beat up on me. Number two, I'm not a religious guy. I'm far from it. But help me out here a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. First of all, I have a little bit of a problem tying those fuckers who went into the towers and your mainstream Muslim guy, because I compare it to your regular Christian guy who goes to church every day, but then you've got like the KKK who claim they're Christians and all that. Now, I just find a hard time connecting the two, and because I have a hard time with that, I say to myself, well, if you do build a mosque next to, that area, I don't know New York that well, but close to these towers, I say to myself, well, if they're the mainstream Muslims or Islamists, whatever you want to call them, I don't see how that's a big difference. I don't see how I wouldn't call that offensive, because if they're just mainstream people, they could be just like Christians, and then there's KKK crazies,
It's a sensitivity issue. It's a rub it in your face issue, as I see also. There are a lot of victims and victims' families and first responders and people that have been affected for the rest of their lives that don't want this there. So
let me ask you right there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what there is there's an undercurrent of real, if you think about it, racism or prejudice towards...
No,
I don't think that's right. And just a little side note here, the KKK today is entirely composed of FBI informants. And they're not, committing they never were. Let's go back 100 years in America. They weren't, citing the Lord's Prayer as they were burning a cross or lynching a black. These guys were, shouting Allah Akbar when that Dr. Hassan stood up at Fort Hood and guns down our troops. He's shouting out Allah Akbar. The terrorists are doing it in the name of religion, and they're peaceful Muslims and they aren't the same ones, but this is there are a lot of them who aren't peaceful, and they're using the religion specifically as part of the violence.
Okay, so in that case, I'm going to just make a humorous comment. Perhaps
That's always a very natural way to set up a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Humorous comment, semicolon.
Get out of the way.
Here comes the funny.
Here comes the fun.
Here it comes now. Let me ease into it. We only have a mosque at the White House, the Pentagon, all the time. We should have 300 or 400 of them all over the city so they won't blow up the most critical areas in our country.
No, because the only people that will blow up mosques are Islamic extremists.
Right.
They'll go in, they'll gun down people. We have to sit there and pay attention to rules of engagement, where if enemy combatants run into a mosque, we can't even look at the mosque, never mind bomb it or shoot at it. Yet they will go in and hack their people to pieces in the name of Allah.
I know. You see it. You see it. I mean, you see the suicide bombers in Iraq and the crazy shit. They're killing their own people when they do stuff like that. So I understand your point, but I just thank you for the clarification. I just I don't like to. I just see religion in general. Most religions, if you look at the way they're written, they're quite peaceful. I mean, you look at Christianity. You go with the Ten Commandments, you're doing okay. But it's the people who teach the religions who screw everything up.
It's a lot of religions. If you do read the ancient texts, are very violent. They have this undertone of everything should be done for God, not for your personal interest. Yes. And there are things like stonings, beheadings,
a lot of
things
smitings.
Like yeah,
lot of smitings.
A lot of people being.
I like the smitings.
Oh, who doesn't love to be smitten?
Smite. It did. But what I'm saying is, in the modern world, these religions have been updated for the time. You can't, stone people. I'm sorry.
But it is even more than that. There is, of the three major world religions, only one of them was founded by a warrior.
Yes.
That's Islam.
Yes.
Islam. Right.
Yeah, I mean, Christianity is purely peaceful, and the Old Testament, well, okay, God is being a gracious God. He's trying to keep the Jews alive in the desert, gives them all these rules. Okay, it may not apply today, and there was a lot of warfare going on, but it's not like Moses was admired for slaughtering infidels.
Yes.
Have they polled Muslims on this whole thing?
No, I don't know. That'd be interesting to read, though,
question.
if they polled American Muslims.
American Muslims, and where would the percentages be on this thing?
They probably don't even poll them because they're afraid of being looked at as anti-Muslim.
But people that say...
Don't talk to them. Don't poll them.
People that say like...
wait, what? Wow. Jesus, am I a mind reader?
Wow, what is President Obama's religion?
Wow.
18,
that's
18%
something
say.
else.
Okay.
A lot of people think that
Muslim.
Obama's a Muslim, 18%.
43% they don't know, and that's the highest.
Well, the weird thing is they
a-
didn't even give the correct answer as one of the options. Atheist.
Yeah.
Maybe he is atheist.
So,
Totally. All liberals are.
so here's a name for you, Nancy Pelosi. She's in the news today.
Yeah.
Do you think it's her sex appeal that keeps her in the limelight?
She is a pisser.
She's like 4 characters in the fucking Creep Show.
We're not going to get to a lot of phone calls, but this guy goes, wants to ask Ann how much she would like to swing a sledgehammer in Nancy Pelosi's face.
Her big gavel, her dumb gavel she walked down the street with that day.
That's a good question. I actually kind of like her because she gives you the Democratic position without the nonsense. Okay, just tell us the truth. We're going to check in with Nancy Pelosi. She wants to investigate people who are opposed to the mosque.
Yes.
You know they're all secretly thinking that, but only the Congresswoman from San Francisco can come out and say what all Democrats are thinking. Yeah.
She said she would like to investigate where this funding is coming from for this grand conspiracy of people that are against the mosque.
Yeah, who's paying you?
Yeah, I can't tell you. I don't want Pelosi finding out where all this money's coming from.
The Borgata.
How about, the Borgata. How about the image of the towers being hit by planes and collapsing is what people are thinking about. Not this conspiracy, not money coming in, not this grand plot to get the Democrats out. It's not. Believe me, they were tripping over their own dicks before this happened. And then they come up with this, and Obama can't keep his mouth shut on it. Now Pelosi comes out, and she's again now, who's behind this? It's got to be someone.
And she said it in response because they want to find out who's funding the mosque. They want to see if it's Iran or they want to find out. And she said, well, because she's for that investigation, but she's like, well, while we're investigating, we should check out who's funding the opposition. Well, all right, well, how do you narrow it down? Who shouldn't we investigate? Asshole. Because you fall on one of those sides. You either are funding it or you're not funding it.
You should absolutely look into where some of this money is coming from. Trace it back. See if it's coming from terrorist organizations or
Saudi Arabia, which is just a synonym for what you said.
Exactly that, but we kissed their ass.
That's every president. That's conservative. That's liberal. There's no president that cannot be in bed with the Saudis. I'm so tired of our relationship
when Bush
with
was
them.
holding hands
In the garden?
in the garden,
humiliating.
It looked romantic, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
very sweet.
Obama
moment.
bowed, and that was irritating. But the hand-holding thing too. It's like, why all of a sudden assimilate to that homoerotic culture? That really annoyed me.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money you have to have a picture taken with the American president hand-holding in a garden? You got to have a lot of dough. It's $1,000 a plate at a shitty dinner.
Yeah, that is embarrassing.
Yeah.
But Pelosi calling for the investigation, and then Obama not being able to keep his mouth shut. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. He just couldn't. The best thing for him to do would have been not mention it at all. And then, all right, then he comes out and starts talking about the first responders' health care.
Oh, yeah.
Out of nowhere. He hasn't mentioned this in years. He hasn't talked about it. First responders, are dying because they were down there breathing in all this shit.
I think those got paid. Now we're dealing with post-traumatic stress syndrome from people who were generally in the area.
In the area? Is that what you think is going on
Yeah,
now?
I think America responded pretty well to the first responders breathing in the debris.
Are we up to the 8th and 9th responders? We're kind of down on the totem pole a little there.
Now we're getting the people who watch it on CNN, and we're upset.
I think it's pretty calculated, though, that after taking a beating on his position on the mosque, that he comes out now and within a couple of days is like, and we'll take care of the first responders.
Well, they were killing him. They said he's not addressing people who are down there.
Talks about the mosque, but doesn't talk about taking care of these people. And then he's like, yes, we'll take care of them. Please forget about my mosque statements.
What do you think happens after the mosque is built?
I think
people
What's going to
forget.
be the response?
People
I think,
forget.
wait, before we get to the mosque being built, because these words will never again cross my lips. Bill O'Reilly had a good point.
Wow.
Whoa!
Do you you don't love O'Reilly? I thought you guys were, like, I've never seen you on the show. You
It's
don't.
kind of a love-hate relationship.
Okay.
Sometimes I think he is so brilliant, every man, and sometimes, as he knows, I want to strangle him. But he had a really good point last night, I think, which was, they have to do a lot of renovations because, a plane fell on it.
Yeah.
He said, no construction worker is going to build that. You are not going to get a construction worker, which I thought, that's actually a pretty good point.
You get a nice union, all-American construction worker.
You're going to get a Teamster building the mosque?
Yeah.
Hell fucking no.
I could see some shoddy workmanship going into that one.
Yeah.
All right, a little ceiling collapse during their first gathering.
Yeah, a very thin floor.
Paper thin.
They'll bring in the UAW from Detroit. You know the way you guys been building those cars? Do it to the mosque.
What's your problem with Bill O'Reilly? You know how I call Oberman a douchebag? I say the same thing about O'Reilly. I don't like O'Reilly either. I don't like either guy. What's your issue with him?
Well, there's no particular issue. It's just sometimes
Every once in a while, he's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and when he can be really great. And then you're watching, and if you care about politics, there it is. He's really hitting it hard. What did he come back on? That he was, I think, the Arizona law. He just come back from vacation. It was like the best O'Reilly ever. And you're watching, and you're totally intrigued. And then we have Coulter Warriors.
Oh.
Wait a second. Don't make me watch MSNBC. No.
What is
don't
Culture
do
Warriors?
this.
I don't watch O'Reilly. What's Culture Warriors?
It's like name the third child on Brady Bunch.
Is he just trying to expand the audience a little bit, or?
But he's got
In
the
my
numbers.
opinion-
He doesn't need to.
Right. No, I think
got a
it's
big
just
lead.
easy.
He's
okay,
been taking
I've
some
just
heat
been...
for like doing anything on Lindsay Lohan. If he brings that up,
Well, he went after
makes it
Jennifer
like,
Aniston, right?
For
Did
what?
he? What'd she do?
Well, because she's telling women they don't need a man to have a kid.
Oh, he was right
And
about that.
He was very upset about that.
No, that was good. No,
Yeah.
I like that. But I don't like the silly things at the end.
Sometimes I think he'll take a stance, too, because he's been a little too far to one side, so he takes the other stance just so he doesn't